Are there any times during your service where you doubted God, was the question. Absolutely. To answer quickly, yes. Where it maybe hit home the hardest, I worked in Iraq. I worked the night shift in the intelligence gathering center, and I worked right next door to this captain. For 4 or 5 or 6 months, we worked side by side. And one morning, right before we got off, I worked 7 p.m. to 7 a.m., so around 6 a.m., she said, "Hey, Peters, I'm going to go to the bathroom." She walked outside, and there was a row of 10 porta potties, right? And they were underneath the sort of beige camouflage netting, and she picks the one on the end, right? And so there I am sitting behind my desk, and I hear this boom and the shake, and the alarm goes off when we'd been hit by an RPG, a rocket-propelled grenade, right? And they would just lob them over our fence and into our base, just hoping they would hit somebody. Well, they hit her, and she died. And I remember thinking, how arbitrary, right? Like in RPG, the explosion's not huge. So if she had been in this porta potty, she would have been alive. But she was in that porta potty, and she died. Who answers for that? Right? And that's us. Like, we're the soldiers, we're the oppressors, we're the military complex, right? What if you're the person who is a peasant living in rural Iraq, whose village gets taken out by a rogue Marine who decides to just gun him down? What about that person? Who answers for that? And I remember thinking, I don't have a framework. The Christianity I was saved into didn't give me a framework to process that experience and to unpack that experience. So I came home from Iraq with PTSD. And I'll just give you a short example of that. I came home. I went to go visit my mother in Washington State. We went to go to Safeway because we're going to have a barbecue because I just returned home. So we go to Safeway to get the things we need. We're in the produce aisle, right? And you know the produce aisle has the water that like they'll sprinkle the white. This is what it sounds like. Right? So I hear this sound and I think we're being attacked. So I'm at Safeway and I hear this sound and I jump on the floor and I start screaming. My mom gets on the floor with me. It's okay, Ben. You're home. And that's the thing about killing, is even if you're a trained professional, it still breaks you. I really don't think we were created to kill. And I think PTSD reveals that truth. And so for me, it was an extremely long process becoming the Ben I am now. And my wife and I now talk about a post-war Ben and a pre-war Ben. Like, I'm not that same guy. I can no longer tap into that. It's really weird. And I cry every time. I've got 3 little kids. And there are times that they just want to have fun with Dad. And I can't do it. I don't know how to do it. So I go to war and I have these experiences and these encounters with violence and warfare and taking human life and being stripped of self and identity and being reconstructed and living in the dark places of the world. And coming home from that and never, ever feeling the same again. There are times where I try to tap in to what I can only think of as whimsy or joy, and it's just not there. The war robbed me of that. It took that away from me. I've never been able to find that again. I can pretend and I can play, but I don't know where it is. I think the war takes our most authentic and honest and joyful selves, and it kills it. But that's the place for me where I see the tragedy of warfare the most, perhaps. In the way it creates this buffer even between me and my own kids.